Well, thank you very much, and first of all, on behalf of our city council, I'm very happy to be here to give you a report on our city and how we're doing. It's been absolutely amazing the last couple of years, and I think anybody in government can attest to that. But I also want to take a moment to thank the Chamber of Commerce and the gas company for sponsoring this event today, so that we can all talk about things. And I guess I would be remiss if I did not mention how important our city believes our high schools and our elementary schools and our junior college are to this community. Obviously, with their presentations, they're all doing the right thing. We have another partner sitting in the back of the room over there. Our partners from Azusa Pacific University, and they also play a major role with our community here. You know, when we take a look at what's been going on the last few years, or actually since 2008, we went into what was called a Great Recession. And at that time, everybody was in serious trouble. Cities, schools, everybody was in serious trouble about what was going on and how our cities and schools were going to be impacted. That's lasted up until this last year. We've seen some dramatic changes. Some cities have made some different changes in how they do business, as well as what we have done in the city of Glendora. And it reminds me of a quote by Sir Oliver Wendell Holmes. He says, basically, life is action and passion, and it's required of a man or a woman to participate in the action and passion of their time. Nowhere, no other year can I remember, and I've been in government 40 years, no time have I ever seen where that quote was more appropriate. Because since 2008, we have been on the defense. We've been doing our best just to keep things going in our community. Some cities have chosen to do different things. Some cities have chosen to raid their reserve funds. Some cities have chosen to increase taxes. Some cities have chosen a number of different things, even to the extent of going into bankruptcy. Well, I can assure you in this report today that the city of Glendora has done none of that. We have done what is important to this community, and that's number one, to have a balanced budget. And I think it's not only a credit to this city council, but it's a credit to the prior city council that did what they thought was right for this community. They didn't kick the can down the road like so many communities did. They dealt with the issues year by year, day by day, and they made the difficult and heart-wrenching decisions that needed to be made in order to keep the city solid. So when we say that, it means, you know, when we say we've cut some positions in our city, we've entered into some different programs, it doesn't really mean anything. So I'm going to mention just some of the statistics for the last 4 years that the city has gone through. Number one, we've cut $3.5 million out of our budget. Also, that amounts to 58 positions. Full-time positions in our community, 27 part-time positions, and 26% of our entire workforce in those past 4 years have been cut. And I need to tell you, it's a very difficult process, as anybody managing government affairs today will say. It is a very difficult situation. But I can assure you that the city did not stand to do anything. We've been working on our strategic plan. We've been putting it in place, and I can guarantee you that our budget is balanced, our strategic plan and objectives are clear and achievable, and that we have the resources and organizational support of not only the city, but the people in the city to move forward. And that's exactly what we're doing. This is the first year in all of that time that we have not had to make cuts in our budget. And believe me, the city council truly appreciates that. As a matter of fact, we've seen about a 1 to a 2% increase in revenue. It doesn't sound like much at this particular point, but when you think about the last 4 years, it is a big, giant step. So what we're seeing is that proverbial light at the end of the tunnel that says there is some light at the end of all of this. And that's what we're working on. Because our goal is not what's happening today, not where we are today. It's what direction are we going, and we're going forward to continue to make the city of Glendora a very wonderful and viable city for all of our residents. But over the past few years, along with the issues that we've been dealing with the economy, the city has also had some other issues that we've had to deal with, and I'll mention them in this report. Number one, redevelopment. While all of this is going on, we wind up saddled with the complete elimination of redevelopment. And that is a very serious issue for us because it in fact stopped some of our development of our community cold in its tracks. Prior to 2008, citizens of this community, business people in this community, members of different organizations, and our city staff have worked hard to put together strategic plans for different parts of our city. The one that was very important to us was Route 66. We had a strategic plan. People spent 5 years on that plan, putting it together to try and develop what do we want to see Route 66 look like. Not today, but 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. But when this recession hit, everything stopped. And it sat on the shelf for 5 years after that. What we're starting to see in our community right now is that our redevelopment plan on Route 66 is now back off the shelf. We see developers and people with businesses wanting to come to our community to open businesses, to do development in our area, and I'm just going to mention a couple of them. On our Route 66 plan, we have City Ventures, which is a development company. They're going to be building 121 homes up there in the Monterey nursery area on Sierra Madre. Beautiful homes. There's going to be 121 of them up there. The same company, City Ventures, is building 53 condominiums, the ones that are across the street from the post office over there. And that is the step, a first step that will be taken to develop a transit section right there in town for when we get funding for our GO line to stop in that particular location in Glendora. We've also seen Avalon Bay coming, and you see this construction beginning. 252 apartment condominium type residential areas. This is a first class. When we first heard that there was going to be 250 some apartments in there, everybody stepped back until we were able to see the quality of this company and the development of this company and how they did business. You can go to our website, you can see a video of what the project will actually look like. So what do all of these things do? They bring additional people to our city who want to live in this town. They bring revenue to our city to help us provide the necessary services for our community. They bring children to our community that can enroll into our school districts, that can help that, and they can support our 2,300 businesses in our community. Even through this difficult time, the city of Glendora has only had a 5% vacancy rate in our commercial property, which is absolutely fantastic on there. But at the same time, we've received some accolades during the last couple of years. We've seen some accolades from the Los Angeles Economic Development Commission. This is the commission that evaluates business-friendly cities from throughout this entire region of Los Angeles County. 2 years in a row, they've awarded, recognized the city of Glendora as the 1 in 5 of the most business-friendly cities in the entire area. Absolutely amazing. We wanted to win, but being recognized as 1 in 5 was a big deal, 2 years in a row. After that, the Cosmont Rose Institute identified us as 1 out of 3 as the lowest cost city for business. That means when people come to us, they can do business and we don't grab their money and run. We work with them on these different things. And then finally, in the San Gabriel Valley Tribune, we've been recognized for 2 years in a row as the best downtown area. And when you look at some of the downtown areas in this valley, that is quite an award for us. But we haven't stopped there. What we've done is we said we need to be better. We need to be better partners with our chamber. We need to be better partners with our business district. We need to do all of those things in order to move forward. So when redevelopment hit, we didn't just sit back and think it was somebody else's problem. We have 2 approaches. that we carry out. Number one, advocacy, so that we can determine how do we get this law changed so it doesn't hurt us so bad as a city. So what did we do? We worked in partnership with the League of California Cities, active partnership with them to try and change the law so that it doesn't hurt us so bad. We worked with the Independent Cities Association, represents 48 cities in LA County, with our legislators to say you need to change this some way so that we can work it. That's the political side to it. And we also worked with the California Police Chiefs Association because they play a major partner in some of these issues. And at the same time, from our community, what we did is we formed an economic development program to talk and to think about, okay, if redevelopment's gone, what do we do now? And the economic development program has been doing a wonderful job reaching out to businesses who want to come to this community, reaching out to businesses that are here that want to expand, and reaching out to our Chamber of Commerce and our business district to say, how can we do this better? And it's actually moving us forward. But then there have been a lot of great things that have been happening in this town. And everybody that talked before me talked about volunteers at some point. I believe probably most of you people in this room are volunteers in the city of Glendora or someplace. And I could sit here all day long and talk about volunteers in our community. Because for the last 10 months, as the mayor, I go to a lot of community functions. I see a lot of people. I see a lot of organizations. I see the wonderful work that they're doing, and they are all volunteers, most of them. And what is absolutely amazing is when one of these organizations says they're going to do something, they mean it, and they actually do it. When people on these committees say they're going to volunteer to do something, they volunteer and they actually do it and carry it out. And it's absolutely phenomenal what I've experienced in the last 10 months working with these organizations and going with them. But then in our community, we have our own pool of volunteers. We have volunteers in our library that when the budgets were being cut, they stepped up, they made programs, they staffed them with volunteers. We have 150 volunteers in our library. They allow us to provide reading programs. They allow us to provide senior programs in our library. They do an absolutely wonderful job. We had one program this summer that just amazed me. It was a summer reading program in the library where we had 150 teenage volunteers working on a program that was going to support and help other teenagers and younger volunteers. During that summer, they put in over 2,000 hours. So if you ask these 150 volunteers, what were you doing during the summer vacation? They're not saying they were out at the river, or they're not saying that they were on vacation. They were at the Glendora Library working to help this community be better. And it's absolutely amazing what we see. Another quote puts that in proper perspective. And I'm just going to mention it real quick here. It says, "No one is more cherished in this world than someone who lightens the burden of another." Well, we have seen that repeatedly in this town. It's what makes this town wonderful. It's what makes it really great. So when we sit here and we say, how are we doing? In this town, we're doing pretty darn good. And I attribute it to our staff. Our city manager has done a wonderful job for us. His department heads that he selected, wonderful department heads, and the people working the line at the city on making it a better place and truly being committed to that. Well, last month on the 16th, this was going to be a different type of a presentation. Let me tell you, when we were ready to give the state of the city, it was going to be a different presentation. But on the 16th, something changed. We were hit strongly by a disaster. And no one really, except the people who were right in with this, understood what that involved. I can remember getting the call at about 5:45 in the morning that there was a fire. And I think, well, fire's a fire. Okay, we got a fire department. They can take care of it. And so I got into my car and I started driving east on Foothill Boulevard from Amelia towards City Hall. And I looked up the side streets at the foothills, and I saw this fire that was absolutely terrifying. It looked like all of the homes at the bottom of that hill were on fire. So as I got to City Hall, and this speaks highly of our planning in our city, and it speaks highly of our resource utilization. When I got there were already people working on developing the Emergency Operations Center. Well, I've been in a lot of emergency operations centers during my career, and let me tell you, these people were ready, they were trained properly, this center was coming together the way it should, and it was our department heads bringing in staff and then directing people out. When I saw the Los Angeles County Fire Department working on helping us with this fire, it was absolutely amazing to see them in action. And when I saw the work, the hard, dedicated work of our police department, I cannot speak highly enough about them. Because this is about 15 minutes after 6 now, and everybody is moving forward on different processes of this emergency plan. Evacuation of 2,300 homes. Have you everybody thought about what it would take to do that? 2,300 homes. We called in mutual aid from a number of cities throughout this entire region. And when I get through here, I'm going to read to you the names because I think it's important that you know what really happened on this. We had 850 firefighters on the line fighting this fire. And when we talked to the chief of this region of the Los Angeles County Department, he said when we got there and we saw this fire, we had estimated that we were going to lose up to 200 homes. A real number. But the truth of the matter is how tragic it is for 5 people, 5 families that lost 5 homes and 9 other families whose homes were severely damaged. This was something that was absolutely amazing. And so we say, well, heck, how did that happen? If the fire planners get there and they have this type of an assessment, how did that happen that we were able to do this? A couple of things. Number one, a lot of luck. Okay? I'll be absolutely clear with you. A lot of luck. Number one, the fire that was burning down the hill was now, the wind came, and God said, God did it because there's none of us that can do this. He changed it and put the wind in a westerly direction, away from these homes. Because these homes were right at the edge of the fire. So that was one thing, change in the wind. The second thing was that the county fire, the forestry, had made a red flag alert. And that basically meant that they were going to provide additional staffing because they anticipated that there was going to be fires because of the wind. That included putting 3 helicopters on standby. These are night vision helicopters, which are very rare and very important. And they had a plan on how they were going to deploy them. Well, when that hit, they put up these helicopters in these fixed-wing aircraft, 8 helicopters and 2 fixed-wing airplanes. The other piece of luck here is that there were no other fires in LA County or in this region, which is, when you bring all of that together, that benefits us. So we have good planning on the part of the city with an emergency plan. Because while those firefighters are out there fighting and our police officers are out there, our city still needs to provide support to them. They need to make sure we have people working posts that are going to direct traffic. We did. They were all volunteer from our police department. We needed to make sure that people were helping one another. And believe me, it was absolutely amazing that neighbor was helping neighbor. And that's what this city is all about. Neighbor helping neighbor. And it was so apparent during this situation. We had people coming in and people calling us saying, what can we do to help? And the truth of the matter is that we were able to use all of these resources to come together to deal with what was a very traumatic situation for us. So the situation now is the fire's out. So what do you do now? Okay? Well, our city manager and our police chief, these guys have been working every day since that fire was out. Because we know when the fire burns It takes care of all this foliage up in the foothills and in the mountains. And we know that that develops an extreme problem for us. That means we have potential for mudslides, potential for flooding, potential for debris slides to come down into the neighborhoods. So they've been working with geologists, meteorologists, people from our county planning, people from our county fire for 2 weeks now, going through that entire area to say, how do we protect our community from this potential danger? Because everybody remembered what happened in 1969 when they had the same exact situation where it came down, they had a fire, and the mudslides came down and wiped us out. Well, that's the position of the city is we need to do everything to protect property and life, and that's exactly what they've been doing. And I need to tell you, it is something to see from a standoff position with them. So we have a lot to be thankful for. Our budget's in place, we're moving forward. We've got volunteers in this community, second to none in the world, I believe. We have businesses in this community who are working hard, not with only the city, but with each other and with the Chamber of Commerce and with the community on some of these projects. And we have other citizens who have confidence in government that we're going to be doing the right thing because of their past experience with government. And that is attributed to not only this current staff and the current city council, but prior city councils who have developed that. So with that, I'm going to close my presentation here because I want to just read to you this. It's kind of like the script at the end of a movie. If I can find it. So bear with me. Well, these days we had mutual aid. That's pretty easy to say. But I want to tell you what it really means here. Because we in the business know what it really means. But not many people do. We say, oh, mutual aid, okay, well, I'll have her came over to help us. Okay, good, thank you. But here's what it took to put out that fight. And this is such a good reflection on our planning by our police department and by the county fire department. A mutual aid plan that says, when things get real bad and you know what hits the fan, we need to come together. We see in the newspapers on a daily basis what's wrong with government, what's not working with government, who's not doing their job, how come they're working against us, those types of situations with government. But this was the perfect example of government working together on a common cause. Well planned out deployment. So I'm just going to read these to you. These were the people who helped us. The American Red Cross, the Angels National Forest Firefighters, Arcadia Fire Department, the Arcadia Police Department, the Azusa Police Department, Baldwin Park Police Department, Burbank Fire Department, the California Highway Patrol, CAL FIRE, Claremont Police Department, Compton Fire Department, Covina Police Department, Downey Fire Department, Del Monte Police Department, Glendora Fire Department, Glendora Police Department, Huntington Beach Fire Department, Inland Valley Humane Society, Irwindale Police Department, Jan's Towing, the Laverne Police Department, the Laverne Reserve Police Officers Group, the Long Beach Fire Department, the Los Angeles City Fire Department, the Los Angeles County Disaster Management Group, the Area D Resources, Brenda McClue-Miller. I worked with Brenda 30 years ago, and she's still around at Area D. It's amazing that she was there. Los Angeles County Fire Department, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, Monrovia Fire Department, Monrovia Police Department, Oceanside Fire Department, Orange County Fire Department, Pasadena Fire, Pomona Police, Redlands Fire, Reverend Doug Hudson from one of our Glendora churches here, a Methodist church, Rio Hondo Wildland Fire Crew 77, a group that I'm very familiar with, the San Gabriel Fire Department, the Santa Barbara Fire Department, Sierra Madre Police Department, Southern California Edison, Southern California Gas Company. I saw Bob at the command post out there, and he never left once he got there. and it was just wonderful. The U.S. Forestry Service, Ventura County Fire Department, West Covina Police Department, and then the West Covina Police Chaplain Program. Those were the players. It's absolutely amazing when you hear about that, because it means more than mutual aid. It means good planning. It means working with one another the way things are supposed to be with government. And it means that we were able to do a really good and tolerable good job in saving many people from being hurt, injured, or killed. And the most remarkable point here, and when I never thought it would be this way when I was driving in, was that no one was killed and no one was severely injured. So with that, thanks everybody for being here. I appreciate it, and I don't know if I have any time, but I'd be glad to answer any questions along with some of the other people.